From Trafalgar Square, that is the nearest place that we'll get you to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, okay.
In time for checking over guards, if we do.
And is that the best place to see it, at Buckingham Palace?
Yeah, that's where I
They just take them out of their hands, I swear.
This morning said, oh, it's St. James Palace.
Yeah, they make better
It starts
plans
at
than
St. James's, goes down to Buckingham Palace,
they do.
and then back up to St. James's, and around like...
And I said that if it was to collapse on its side, the very tip of it would land on Pudding Lane, where the Great Fire started in the bakery of Thomas Farragut. Now they could have positioned the monument any 202 feet away from the start of the fire, but they positioned it there as it stands on the site of the longest standing London Bridge. For about 700 years, that point was the main thoroughfare into London, where people such as King Richard I or Elizabeth I made their way into the city. The ominous connotations to Friday the 13th. Now across the river on the left, you see the building with the electronic sign going over it. That's the National Theatre, London's largest theatre. So amongst all the Cottesloe theatres that there are in the world, there is a Cottesloe prison in Iran, based on stage, the National Theatre in London. Now we're now going to go. And carry up ahead of us on the left is London's oldest monument, an obelisk from Egypt called Cleopatra's Needle. It's over 3,500 years old, and it was given by the Viceroy of Egypt, Muhammad Ali, after Nelson's victory at the Battle of the Nile in 1798.
How about you? You want to go out to see the palace?
I don't want to get off. I need to see the palace.
Yeah, me too.
Cheers.
In front of us there is the Admiralty Arch, with the red road on the side leading down to Buckingham Palace, the home and office of the Queen. On the right hand side you get a very good front view of the National Gallery, containing work by Leonardo da Vinci, Giovanni Bellini and Sandro Botticelli. Behind us is the National Portrait Gallery, so there's lots of artwork to be seen in the area. And now we're going to be continuing on towards Piccadilly Circus and Leicester Square. At the Electrification Museum, the Victorian Albert Museum or the British Museum, I will show you where you can get all of its bright and shiny electronic advertisements, of which the very first electronic advertisement ever was right here. It was in 1910 that we advertised for something called Hot Bovril beef tea. It's not overly drunk anymore, but it was enjoyed at the time. And ahead of us on the right, we have a statue of an angel called Eros. It's supposed to be the angel of Christian charity. And this is the very first statue ever to be sculpted from aluminium. Now, granted, these aren't two first-time things that will make your eyes pop out of your head with excitement, but two first-time things nonetheless. I mean, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up a hill, but then he marched them down again. Now, when they were up, they were up, but when they were down, they were down. He was sort of the most dim-witted militant leader we've ever had. Didn't know what on earth to do with the soldiers. And no one actually liked him, as everyone in the armed forces was Dr. Day's wages to build that thing for him. He was originally on the ground floor, but everybody used to pelt at the rotten fruit and veg. So he stuck up on a cot and just even cleaning him constantly. Now our next stop is for Piccadilly Circus. Anybody for Piccadilly Circus? The daughters of Helios, the Greek god of the sun. Not to be confused with Apollo, the Roman god of the Buckingham Palace, and the Houses of Parliament.
Is there going to be a lunch wait?
I do.
Yeah. 20 minutes, half an hour?
About 5 minutes.
I guess I'm getting on and off. It's just
For those of you wanting this one. Currently over to the right is the Texas Embassy Restaurant. This used to be a building called Oceanic House, where you could have purchased your Titanic ticket in 1912. So ladies and gentlemen, this is our stop, Trafalgar Square. And just coming up to the left is the National Art Gallery, which has been here since 1824 to the left. Started with just 16 paintings and has now accumulated into a wide amount of Italian and Western art. Now Trafalgar Square is named after the Battle of Trafalgar, 1805 by Lord Horatio Nelson. And that's when his 27 ships defeated the French and Spanish fleets combined. Trafalgar itself is just off the coast of Spain, and Nelson was actually killed at the Battle of Trafalgar, and his body lays in rest in the crypt of St Paul's Cathedral. And in front of you, you should be able to see the largest ship in a bottle in the world, right in front of the bus. You'll see it on your left as we shortly turn. And it is a small depiction of HMS Victory, which is the vessel Lord Nelson sailed upon through the Battle of Trafalgar. So that's on your left, ship in a bottle. And on your left we've got two beautiful fountains, which have been here since the early 1900s. Commonly reaching a 10-foot poop.
Too high? No. They fall out, right?
Tower, and not the tower itself. There it is. Attached to Nightingale, coming up on your right hand side. Florence Nightingale is at the front of the Crimean War Memorial, holding her lamp. She was known as the Lady of the Lamp. And she's there as she helped many of the sick and wounded in the Crimean War in 1854. She was born in 1820, died at the age of 90 in 1910. To the left you've got a column with a statue on top. That's the Grand Old Duke of York. He was a son of Mad King George III. His name is Augustus Frederick, the Grand Old Duke of York. And there was a little song that was written about this man that goes like this. Oh, the Grand Old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and he marched them down again. And when they were up, they were up. And when they were down, they were down. And when they were only halfway up, they were neither up or down. It's where Queen Victoria married her first cousin Albert in 1840. It is where Princess Diana of Wales laid in state before having her funeral. And the last members of the royal family to live at St James's Palace were Prince Charles and his two sons William and Harry. Now you'll see it coming up on the left, and some people usually say to me it doesn't look like a palace at all. And it's been built and rejuvenated through the years, and it's got so many different layers of brickwork that it doesn't really look as beautiful as it is, because the interior is absolutely divine. You've got jewel encrusted walls, and it's huge. It goes right down deep into the canal currently, and passing quite a few gentlemen's clubs along the way. And a gentleman's club in London is a place of pure decadence. You've got tapestries on the walls that date back to the 1200s, chandeliers hanging off the ceilings, cognac and caviar being sold to you throughout the whole length of the day. In this one to the left with the blue flag, you've got an Olympic-sized swimming pool and Turkish baths. That's the Royal Automobile Club. And you do need to be quite an important person to become a member of these clubs. Around the next corner to the left, we're going to shortly pass St James's Palace, which was commissioned by Henry VIII in 1536 for his second wife Anne Boleyn. And Anne Boleyn never got to see it, as he had her beheaded. And now we follow this trend in many cultures where women wear white. We actually lived here for a little while, used it as a hunting lodge in the late 1500s. And there's a balcony within this palace to the left, where if the monarch was to pass away, it was always announced on a balcony within St James's Palace. Duke of Wellington got their hats for their battles, and it was also the first hat company to make the bowler hat. So this is coming up on the right, Lock & Co. So you've got prestigious galleries down here, and wine merchants, cigar merchants, soup sellers. And if you're shopping down here, it does mean that you do have a little bit of money in the bank. See a lady with a pink coat just passing Lock & Co to the right. See her there. And coming up on the left, you'll see this barber shop. It's called True Fit and Hill. And the Royal Warrant is a little bronze Royal Warrant, and it's just above the blue canopy, coming up above the shop front, just coming up on the left, True Fitting Hill, where Prince Charles goes to have a shave and a haircut. You'll see that just coming up on the left. And the layout of these shops are exactly the same as they would have been when they were first created. So that's on the left. You see that bronze Royal Warrant there? And this area is very much used for its memorials. The memorial that dominates this area is the Wellington Arch, and you'll see this coming up on your right shortly. And it's in dedication to the Duke of Wellington, who fought in the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. So this is coming up on the right. That's when he defeated Napoleon. That's the Wellington Arch there for the Duke of Wellington. And through the trees to the right is the Australian Memorial. Now this is unveiled by the previous Australian Prime Minister, John Howard. And on the other side of the wall, you've got 24,000 names carved into it, in dedication to all Australians that helped in various battles. On your left, we've got the Lanesborough Hotel, which is the white building approaching us on the left. And this is where rooms can fetch up to £8,000 per night. So there are some rooms inside here that go for £8,000 per night. That's on your left. The building used to be St George's Hospital, and it's where Sir Henry Grey created Grey's Anatomy. Coming up on the left, this sandy coloured building is Apsley House, and it is where the Duke of Wellington used to live. And that's here on the left, Apsley House. He died in this building in 1852 at the age of 83. Coming up on your left-hand side are the Queen Mother's Gates, dedicated to the Queen's Mother on her 90th birthday. Queen Mother's Gates on the left. She died just before her 102nd birthday in 2002. Queen Mother's Gates on the left. And this is our stop at Hyde Park, and this is where you can transfer to the red route. So 6. And that's on the corner there to your right, Beretta. Our next stop, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be for Green Park, and it's where you can transfer to the blue route. And your blue route will take you to the main museums of London, and also up to Harrods for 7 floors of shopping. Just before we get to our stop, we've got the Ritz Hotel coming up on the left. Very well known for afternoon tea. About £40 per person, so it's not a cheap cup of tea. But you do get 2 hours to consume as many sandwiches, scones and cakes as you can. So we're just coming up to our next stop, and this one's for Green Park. If you want to linger in the park, or if you want to change for the blue routes. So just coming into us, it helped us in both our wars. And on the side of it, it reads, "They had no choice." That's on your right, Animals in War. Our stop approaching is for Marble Arch, and it's where you can transfer to the red, the black and the purple routes. The red route from here will take you to Madame Tussauds. The black route will take you to King's Cross, and the purple route will take you to Paddington and Notting Hill. With your tickets, you have 6 different routes to go on to. And this reminds us that this area used to be a giant watering hole where horses used to accumulate and drink. If we were to turn down the road to the left, we'd get to the area of Notting Hill, famous for the colourful Notting Hill Carnival, which takes over the streets once a year. And that happened a couple of weeks ago. The road directly down in front of you is Oxford Street. 1.5 miles of shopping. So Hyde Park Corner coming in front of us once again. And just on top of the Wellington Arch, which is on your right, Wellington Arch, we've got a statue on top of it called Peace in her Quadriga. And it signifies the angel of peace descending upon the chariot of war. And you'll see this from a different perspective as we come round. And you can actually go inside the Wellington Arch and learn all about the Duke of Wellington, who was also our Prime Minister for a little while as well. So that's the Peace in her quadriga on top. We light that up beautifully of an evening time, all multicoloured. On your left hand side we've got a wall with a high security fence, and this is guarding Buckingham Palace and the gardens of Buckingham Palace. So within the wall to the left you've got about 40 acres of land. In the gardens you can find 3 swimming pools, 8 tennis courts, a helicopter pad, a huge lake and an aviary home to 30 different species of birds. There are 775 rooms within Buckingham Palace, and that includes a cinema, a post office, a police station and a medical centre. The royal family have over 800 members of staff working for them for Buckingham Palace, and about a quarter of them will actually live inside the palace. The Queen's full name is Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor II. She's been our Queen since 1952 and took over when her father, King George VI, passed away. She is currently not at home within Buckingham Palace, as at the moment for 2 months we've just opened 22 staterooms for the public until the 3rd of October. Whenever we do this through the summer period, the royal family always go on holiday. So at the moment, the Queen is in Aberdeen at Balmoral to Baker Street, and that was in 1863. We'll come to the area of London Bridge a little bit later, where you can find a wonderful attraction called the London Dungeons. And it's the home to J.K. Rowling. That gentleman with the shirt is just passing now. So see that down to the right. And it's also down this road to the right where Andrew Lloyd Webber lives, the creator of the Phantom of the Opera and various other musicals and productions. J.K. Rowling's also got residence in Scotland as well, where she actually wrote Harry Potter.
You've got that one way, and the palace the other. It's a beautiful vista. There's a bit of a long walk down there back, but
and round, really? And round all day. Yeah. We're going to be going over the Lambeth Bridge. From Lambeth Bridge we really do get a lovely view down the River Thames. Do have your cameras ready. You all want to be taking pictures. If you look to your left, you'll see the Houses of Parliament on one bank, the London Eye on the other bank. Fantastic juxtaposition of the very old and the very new of London. You also see the Westminster Bridge. They're the second oldest bridge over the River Thames in London. You may notice that bridge is painted green and this bridge is painted red. They're representing the 2 Houses of Parliament, the House of Commons on that side, which is green, and the House of Lords on this side, which is red. would like to take a stroll around this lovely area, we'll visit the Lambeth Palace. Lambeth Palace just there to your right, the red brick building. Nobody coming down there. As we move away again, do look to your left, the lovely view there of the Houses of Parliament and of course the famous Big Ben clock tower.
Shows in town right now that you would recommend?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So many, and they're all different. People like Wicked is one that.
Burnt down in 1834, rebuilt by two architects, Charles Barry and Augustus Puget. They also designed the clock tower that most people know as Big Ben. Big Ben is in fact though not the name of the clock tower, but the name of the bell. We slightly head to right, St Margaret's Church, and behind St Margaret's Church, a much larger, much grander, much more important church. That is of course Westminster Abbey, just there to your left. Westminster Abbey, the crowning place of the kings and queens of England. Every single monarch of Britain has been crowned Abbey. We do have a stop for it in just a second. The Houses of Parliament and Westminster Abbey. The glorious den of all wars after the first. You see the cenotaph, the column in the middle of the road, just there to our right. That square stone column. British Prime Ministers have lived at number 10 Downing Street ever since the Second Battle. The Admiral Lord Horatio Nelson was shot and died. He was shot through the right shoulder by a sniper in the rigging of the French flagship. He died a few hours later from his wounds. He actually died in the arms of his best friend and right-hand man, Lieutenant Hardy. It was to Lieutenant Hardy that he spoke his final words. He said, "Kismet Hardy, Kismet," meaning destiny Hardy, destiny. It's fine out of London. If you need to be going in the other direction, you can change here, heading on a westbound service back to the left-hand side of your map.